Hello, hello, what is up? What is good? We are reading the new chapter of One Piece 2 days after it came out, which is not ideal under the best of circumstances, but especially is not ideal when we had such a crazy chapter last week with Emu flipping the giants into demons, swaying their hearts and filling them with the power of evil. Crazy, crazy stuff. Looking really, really bad for Elbaf. But I actually had a big conversation yesterday with another friend of mine that reads One Piece. He inadvertently spoiled something for me because he didn't realize I hadn't read it yet. Oh well, these things happen. Honestly, I feel very lucky that I don't get more spoiled more often, given that, the chapter leaks like halfway through the week. I managed to avoid all of that at least, but occasionally, especially since what was I doing not reading it on Sunday? Blah. I had to visit my mom. Pfft, this is no good. That's not a good excuse. It's One Piece Sunday, baby. What could possibly trump that in importance? Anyways, so he said to me just the word Othello question mark. And I was like, oh, hold on, I haven't read it yet. I haven't read it yet. Because I knew from a helpful comment last week that there had been this theory going around among One Piece fans that basically Emu and Nika are kind of playing like a big game of Othello and can use their insane godlike powers to flip the pieces from good to evil, etc. And we did see very literally the giants flipping over. The other thing that this suggests is that when Luffy reemerges back into the second tier of Elbaf, after, I don't know, chatting it up with Loki and Hadruden or whatever's happening down there, he'll be able to start flipping things back. And I think basically there's like certain assumptions I'm making of this arc. One is that Elbaf has been brought up as just such a landmark, as such a destination, as this kind of major climax of the series that we finally made it there. A wonderful place that is full of friends. Saul is there. The giant captains are there. We're not going to be leaving with it in total ruins. I think that would be a bit much. Now, granted, we have to kind of go to a low point before we can come to a triumphant high. At the end of the entire series, but I don't think we're going to have the whole islands as collateral. We already lost Egghead. Egghead, of course, wasn't such a destination, not to the same extent by any means. But we just finished an arc with an island blowing the fuck up. I don't think we're going to do that again. But right now, Elbaf is on pace to get totally ruined by, all of the giants turning evil and stuff. So it makes sense to me that there's some countermeasure that Luffy can flip them back. I also am still convinced, and this was another big part of the conversation we had, this battle with the Holy Knights is not going to be the entirety of Elbaf. We still have, for sure, the true history of Loki and Hadruden and Harold, which has been teased very, very explicitly. There's no way that we're going to go through this whole arc without a substantial flashback there, without some twists and revelations and stuff there. We've talked about this a lot in these videos. And it would be very, very weird to me to either have that happen in the middle of this gigantic catastrophe. They're fighting Emo, cut to 20 chapter flashback, cut back to fighting Emu, who isn't even related to any of the stuff in the flashback, at least not directly. Seems ridiculous. It also seems weird to me to have the whole battle finish, and then we have this big flashback, and then nothing substantial actually happens because of the flashback, for it to be just kind of like an endpoint, and for the kind of lessons from it to be inconsequential, for there not to be some big revelation that kind of changes things and instigates more plot points, but for them to go, oh, that was a great story, Loki. Maybe you're a good guy after all. Here, now you can live among giants again. And see ya. No. I think there's got to be kind of some crazy conflict that emerges from it. And I am still convinced there's like an X factor on Elbaf that ties into the fact that Elbaf has these remnants of ancient history, like the big mural that Frankie saw, that ties into the big fucking sword, which we saw when we first saw Elbaf and hasn't been brought up by any character since, and involves the third layer of Elbaf, the Heavens layer, which again we were told about, but hasn't been brought up since. And basically, I think that Oda had something cooked, some major Ragnarok type scenario for Elbaf, that might be really crazy and might not totally end well, although I don't think it's going to end with like Elbaf in ruins. I think it'll be pretty emotionally tumultuous and will probably involve a great betrayal that King Harold implemented, and this tragedy of Loki becoming like a martyr and all this other stuff. There's also Loki's devil fruit. We don't know what that is. There's this kind of idea of whether Elbaf should be opened up in the spirit of Wano, whether it should be a peaceful country or a warfaring country, whether it should be in alliance with the world government or if it should be independent. A lot of those things have been kind of answered, but we haven't really dove into the history of that conflict, which involves Harold and involves Loki and stuff like that. And again, seems to suggest to me that there is some sort of other X factor, which might have been Loki's devil fruit. It might have something to do with the big sword. It might have something to do with the Heavens lair. Whatever. There's a lot still mysterious. So basically, I think Oda had a game plan for Elbaf thought out, but then he realized it's not going to be so emotionally great to show up on Elbaf. It's this big, beautiful, triumphant moment. All men are brothers. All the giants are my friend. Oh, but the giants are actually like infighting. There's this like tragic history with the giants. Their king turned out to be evil. They locked up this guy that was actually just trying to help them. All of that stuff, I think, would be a little heavy and like a little emotionally dissonant for what's supposed to be just this wonderful triumphant moment. So I think Oda was like, oh, okay, well, we need to introduce an external threat first that all of the giants together are working to battle. And that will be kind of like the first conflict. That will be the first major act of this arc. And then we can get into all that other stuff. Plus, I think he thought, eventually these Holy Knights are going to be some of our endgame enemies. We need to kind of establish more of them. We need to space that out so it's not just dumping like a dozen new characters on us all at once. And maybe let's introduce some of the themes of this final battle, like the demonifying of people, this idea of power of evil, this Othello game, whatever. Let's start seeding that stuff early. And this is just very efficient writing to do all of that all at once. So, that's my theory of Elbaf. We're going to wrap up this conflict with Emu. Luffy's going to start flipping the pieces back over. They're going to drive the Holy Knights from Elbaf. The day will be saved. Hopefully even the books will be saved. It'll be a great moment of triumph. But then this other conflict with Loki is going to start dredging up. Maybe in that process he becomes free. He runs off into the wilderness, but then reemerges. And that ancient conflict among the giants starts to take precedence in the plot. And that becomes our second act of Elbaf. That's my thinking. We'll see. It's kind of wishful thinking because I love this arc. I love this setting. I love the giants as characters. I just want to spend a lot of time here. I would be a little disappointed if we just beat the Holy Knights and then sailed off. I would be a little disappointed if we lose to the Holy Knights and then beat a hasty retreat. And that's it for Elbaf. I think I want there to be more, and I think it makes sense for there to be more. Anyways, let's get into the chapter itself, or at least the cover page. This chapter is called I Get the Idea with three exclamation marks. We see Yamato fighting against the Yokozuna Sukune. Now, I have just read Hinamaru Sumo, a great sports shonen series. Highly recommended. I talked about it in the manga chat video. And let me tell you, it's given me a lot of respect for the title Yokozuna. Let me say this. I don't care how strong Yamato is. I don't care that he's Kaido's son. I don't care that he has the spirit of Kozuki Oden. and that he has a ancient wolf, legendary wolf, dragon, devil fruit thing. I don't care that he's tall as shit. You can't just toss around a Yokozuna. If you're telling me that dude is a Yokozuna and he's wearing, he does seem to be wearing the decorations of a Yokozuna, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. You're gonna get tossed like that? You ain't no Yokozuna. Anyways, fun one. We get to see more little slices of life in Wano. I always like that. Okay. So the captains are, yes, they've set out to fight Jarl. Jarl said, I'm not gonna run. I'm gonna face him head on. Freaking Broggy's limb is still hovering. The world's oldest warrior. He is a hero of legend. We've looked up to him our entire lives. The warrior we once admired has grown old and feeble, so it's time to force him into retirement. Oh my gosh. Now this is interesting. They're not just, like, brainwashed, totally. They still have, like, remnants of their personality. Because talking about the fact that he's a warrior, but he's grown old and feeble and blah, 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 that we once admired, the original personality still is there. There's vestiges of it. But it's been, like, inverted. It's had evil injected in it. On the dimension of evility, it just 180'd. What's interesting to me, too, is that, like, were these guys in the white position then? And then they were flipped over? Or were they in, like, a neutral position and they were flipped to black? So that when Luffy flips them back, I'm just assuming that this Othello thing at some point in this chapter is going to be kind of delved into, since my friend said that. Are they going to turn, like, angelic? Are they going to become also white hair, rippling clouds, that kind of stuff? And they'll have their personality flipped again on some other axis of freedom or joy or whatever. I don't know. Then we will be the kings of Elbaf. There's no need for the god of Elbaf anymore. The fuck does that mean? I don't know. They've got all these religious texts. They've got the heaven lair. There's something cooking. There's something cooking. Ah, yeah, okay. This was something else that people were speculating too. I'm trapped in between them. I don't want to turn oval. Yeah, okay. So they're like white pieces. Flipped over and turned into different people entirely. Bring about the age of war. Okay, yeah. So yeah, this is the other element that's like Othello. The way you flip pieces over in Othello is by sandwiching them. That's crazy. It's just straight up Othello. Okay, so it literally is just straight up Othello. It's not that Othello is like an abstract analogy or something. But they're literally operating under the rules of Othello. This is nuts. Get to the corner! Get the corner pieces! Yeah, Luffy's gotta be able to start flipping them back. Now check this out. They don't just become evil, they also get huge. I was trying to figure out if this is the case last chapter. It was a little unclear to me. But here, for sure, this Thorman is way shorter than the giant captains. And then he becomes evil. Sick, nasty character design, by the way. Maybe goes without saying. I've been praising these character designs the whole time. But now he's like the same height as the giant captains. Ooh. Yeah, Mr. Ya got skewered by the spikes and thrown overboard. Yeah, I suspected this was happening, that the children were imagining demons, and that was making the sleep tids turn into demons. Oh, check it out, dude. Sir Killingham is in a different zone form. Assuming that he doesn't just look like that. He's in his, like, full Kirin mode instead of Kirin human mode. Blowing a horn. Resurrecting the sleep tids. There's no waking Elbaf from this nightmare. It looks bad. It looks bad. I can't imagine it getting much worse. This is where Luffy has to re-emerge. This is the other thing too, is like Luffy coming back has to be really significant, I think. He's got to make one hell of a triumphant entrance back to the main level of Elbaf. I don't think it's enough for him to just go Gear 5 and start punching dudes, right? Like, that's not really going to solve many of the problems when some of your enemies are your friends turned evil, and obviously you don't want to just kill them, you want to save them, and other enemies are just immortal sleep demons that you're not going to be able to punch to death anyways. There's got to be another thing to do. Whoa. He does just look like that. No, I'm kidding. He is. Dang it. I thought it would be so cool if he just looked like that. He looks so much more evil now. When he was more in a Kirin form, he looked like way more like goofy and silly. Now he looks kind of like badass and sexy and evil. With the Great One here, there's no need to hold back. Remember, Elbaf, you created these monsters yourself. I suppose that's like a theme in a sense, but kids are allowed to be afraid of things. But yeah, there he is. He's got the Kirin fruit. Pretty badass. I like that they saved this revelation until now. That was a fun idea, to have him look all goofy and flustered. But now with the presence of Imu, emboldened and enraged and giddy with evil, things have gotten pretty hairy. Yeah, you can say that again. Our poor Straw Hats looking on. No clue what's going on. I understand why Saul wasn't able to stop them. They're being guarded by monsters and invisible thorns. These are the... when Imu unleashed the unprecedentedly powerful Conqueror's Haki. These are giants that passed out. How far shall we go, Great One? The playing board is entirely in our color. They will eventually crumble under the weight of their own personal demons. Continue until it breaks. The heart of Elbaf. This country would have been subjugated years ago if not for Harold's miserable failure. He was an op! He was an op! He was trying to sell out the country. He was letting Mother Caramel's slave trade go, selling giants as children, as slaves. He was turning a blind eye to that, and he was scheming to have Elbaf absorbed into the world government. I'm convinced. I'm convinced that that is the true conflict at the heart of Elbaf. Okay, meanwhile, many minutes earlier, Chopper jumps down after Scopper. Chopper and Scopper. It makes sense. He manages to push himself through the air, looking like a Chopper motorbike, trying to get below Mr. Ya. Okay. So this is the argument we saw a bit ago. Chopper just fell down from above. Heard something. Did you see him? Beyond the mountains. How did I know it was Chopper? Somebody else is with him. They're weakened. They fell from the sun world. We gotta go search for them. Okay. We're getting the gang back in action. And it, as I said, it would be very weird if they were like, before we go and see what's going on here and make our way back to the sun world, let's have a little chat about our childhoods or whatever. So that is definitely coming later. Okay. Gotta go search for them. So they've been left to guard Loki. Loki's trying to bargain his way out of the cuffs. Oh, this mysterious Shaggy. We never found out who this was. Some people thought it was Shanks. Kind of strange. Some people thought it would be Mr. Ya. Evidently not. Who could it be? It's gotta be somebody we know. Busy too. Just one thing. I wasn't able to tell you earlier, but I'll be unable to call you for a while. At first I found it frightening, but the more you and I talked, the more our conversations became a source of solace for me, so I wanted to express my gratitude. You're in danger again. I'm fine, don't worry. Just wanted to say thank you for everything. Okay. Just reintroducing this little mystery of who the heck is Loki's phone buddy. Which I'm sure may not even be relevant this arc, but Oda is telling us explicitly, hey, don't forget about that. Because this was kind of inconsequential. Like, I don't think anybody was going, hey, when is that guy going to call Loki again? Rather, it's like, hey, that actually will be important, even though it's not going to be relevant right now. Glad to know you have a friend to keep you company in the lonely underworld. Oh, Gert is so nice. Alright. We haven't seen this in a while. Chopper getting flustered after being complimented. Okay. Guess everyone really loves this guy, huh? Alright. He's on the King of the Pirates Caribbean. Yeah, Luffy had no idea. We're known as the Wings of the Kings of the Pirates. Assuming he's the third strongest on the crew. Second strongest. There's huge trouble going on up there. Children are taken hostage by a couple of bad guys and nobody can do anything to stop them. Giant monsters rampaging around. And, whoa. Alright. Yeah, let's go! Signal the counterattack, baby. It's time, it's time. Sweet. Really looking forward to next week. This is gonna be so satisfying. Seeing our heroes finally take a step back after months and months of just getting owned. Another fantastic chapter. Just the little moments of humor, little moments of intrigue. Awesome triumphant spreads, dude. I love this spread of... It's like, we still had heroes in the tank, though. It looks bad, but we still had all these dudes in the tank. Seeing Sir Killingham. Damn, man, One Piece is cooking. One Peak, baby. I can't get over how silly the Othello thing is, too. It's so crazy. This is, like, the biggest and most terrifying power we have seen in the entire series so far, hands down. That this endgame villain has the ability to just, like, trivially make your most powerful allies into your most powerful enemies. And it's themed around Othello. It's themed around the characters flipping over. Oh, man. Alright. Great stuff. Great stuff. Let's look forward to next week, baby.